The arena was alive with noise, but the laughter felt cruel, sharp like claws. Alien cadets crowded the circular platform, their eyes glinting with amusement as a tiny furry cub trembled in the center. Its ears twitched nervously, tail tucked under, while the humans' alien instructors whispered about weakness disguised as potential. Most students leaned forward, eager to mock, to show they were brave, or at least smarter than the creature they called a predator. Kai stood at the edge, silent. He didn't laugh. He didn't whisper with the others. He simply watched, tilting his head slightly, noting the subtle tension in the cub's muscles, the way its small amber eyes scanned the arena for danger. A flicker of fear passed over the creature, but there was also awareness. Intelligence. Something the other cadets had missed entirely. "Look at it," one alien jeered, its voice crackling like broken glass. "It can barely stand. How could anyone fear this weakling?" Another joined, "It's barely alive. I could crush it with one claw." The cub flinched at the words and some of the alien cadets laughed harder. But Kai stepped forward, his boots silent against the metal floor. His voice was calm but firm. "Don't be so sure," he said. "It's learning. Watching. Listening. You won't see it coming until it's too late." The room fell momentarily silent at the human's words, but only for a heartbeat. Then laughter rose again, louder this time, echoing against the tall, glass-like walls of the arena. Kai's eyes narrowed. The cub trembled, uncertain, but Kai crouched slowly, holding out a hand. "Hey, it's okay. You're not alone," he whispered. His words were soft but deliberate, carrying a weight that surprised even him. The cub's ears flicked toward him. Its small body stiffened, muscles taut like a spring. The other cadets scoffed, muttering insults, but Kai ignored them. "Pathetic human," one sneered. "Trying to play with a creature you can't even control?" Kai's lips curved into a faint smile, calm but defiant. "Control?" he said. "I'm not here to control it. I'm here to understand it." For the first time, a small growl escaped the cub, low and hesitant, but more warning than fear. It stared at Kai, its tiny jaw trembling, and then, with an almost imperceptible movement, it stepped closer. Kai's hand stayed out, steady, patient. The alien instructors exchanged uneasy glances. One of them, tall and imposing, hissed through his teeth. "Human, that cub is not yours to touch. Step back or you will regret it." Kai lifted his chin. "I accept that risk," he said plainly. "But it's smarter than you think." A ripple of murmurs ran through the cadets. Some leaned in, curious despite themselves. Some still sneered, but now their laughter carried an edge of doubt. Kai crouched even lower, and the cub's growl softened into a cautious sniff. Kai offered a small piece of dried meat from his pack, letting it drop softly in front of the cub. The cub paused, nose twitching, then slowly, almost ceremoniously took the food. Its small teeth nibbled, and for a moment the room held its breath. The mockery paused. The instructors' faces were unreadable. The cadets watched, fascinated despite themselves. "You see," Kai said quietly, more to the room than the cub. "Strength isn't always in size. It's in knowing who's beside you, and who's guiding you." One of the more reckless cadets couldn't resist. He stepped forward, claws extended, aiming to scare the cub back into submission. "You think your little human tricks can save you from a predator, little furball?" The cub's amber eyes snapped to the cadet. Its growl deepened, trembling at first, then surging with sudden energy. It crouched, ready to spring, muscles coiled. The other cadets froze. Kai's hand stayed out, calm. "Easy, don't fight unless you must." The cub leapt, not at the cadet, but in a blur of motion, it swiped past him, tail flicking, knocking his balance off just enough to stumble backward. A gasp swept through the arena. The cadet landed awkwardly, clattering against the edge of the platform, his pride more hurt than his body. Laughter turned into shocked murmurs. Kai rose slowly, voice steady, carrying over the whispers. "It's learning fast. Faster than any of you imagined. Watch carefully. It's not just a cub. It's something more." The cub returned to Kai's side, brushing lightly against his leg, its trembling gone, replaced with a fierce alertness. Its amber eyes glimmered like molten gold, reflecting an intelligence and courage that no one had expected. One of the instructors, older and colder, narrowed his eyes. "This human, he may be a problem," he muttered, almost to himself. Kai didn't answer. He looked at the cub, feeling a strange connection, a bond that seemed almost impossible in this hostile alien world. He whispered, "We'll show them, together." Above, the arena lights dimmed slightly, and a ripple of unease spread through the cadets. Something had shifted. The laughter had died, replaced by a tense curiosity. No one had predicted this. A human, small and seemingly fragile, standing with a cub that others mocked. But together, they radiated something dangerous, something neither size nor instinct could contain. And in that moment, the cub's eyes flicked toward the edge of the arena where the next trial awaited, its small body coiled, ready. Kai felt a shiver of anticipation. This was only the beginning, and already the tides were turning. Kai led the cub to the quiet corner of the arena, away from prying eyes. The other cadets were distracted, whispering among themselves about the display earlier, but Kai's focus never wavered. The cub's amber eyes followed him closely, ears twitching at every subtle sound. "You're braver than they think," Kai whispered, crouching to meet the cub's gaze. "But you're not just brave, you're smart. You can sense danger before it even touches you." The cub tilted its head as if understanding the words, then nudged Kai's hand with its nose. A shiver ran through him, not of fear but of connection. It was strange, almost unreal, how quickly the bond had formed. Yet, the arena had taught him that instincts were often more powerful than any training manual. From the shadows, a cadet snickered. "Looks like the humans found a little friend." "How cute." Kai didn't look up. "It's not about friendship," he said calmly. "It's about survival. And if you think size matters, you've already lost." The cub growled softly, low in its throat, warning the cadet without moving a step closer. Its fur bristled, muscles taut. The alien hesitated, a flicker of doubt crossing its face. No one had seen the cub react with such awareness, and for the first time, some of the cadets felt the unease Kai had sensed earlier. Kai knelt fully, letting the cub circle him. "I need you to trust me completely," he said. "Every move, every sound, you feel it before it comes. We'll use it together." The cub responded with a quiet whine, then pressed closer. Its body seemed to vibrate with energy, a tension that mirrored Kai's own heartbeat. He ran a hand along its back, feeling the rapid pulse beneath the fur. Suddenly, a shrill alarm echoed across the arena, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. The instructors' faces appeared on the elevated control platform, their expressions unreadable, but their intent clear. A test. Kai's stomach tightened. This wasn't going to be easy. "Looks like your little experiment ends here," a cadet muttered from a distance, stepping closer with claws raised. "Let's see if your clever cub can survive real predators." Kai's eyes narrowed. "Stay close. Watch me watch your instincts. Nothing happens by accident." From the hidden gates at the edge of the arena, a group of alien predators emerged, sleek, towering creatures with claws that gleamed under the lights. Their eyes locked onto the cub, but as they advanced, Kai positioned himself between them and the small predator. "Move with me," he whispered, barely audible. "Not apart, together." The cub mirrored his stance, crouching low, muscles coiled like springs. When the first predator lunged, Kai sidestepped, guiding the cub with a subtle sweep of his arm. Together, they dodged, ducked, and rolled, a seamless unit of human intuition and animal instinct. The cadets gasped, whispering in disbelief. One alien shouted, "This is impossible." "They move as one." The cub darted forward, agile and precise, striking the predator in its flank. It wasn't just force, it was clever, measured, a calculated attack that left the predator stumbling. Kai adjusted his position instantly, anticipating each reaction, reading the terrain and guiding the cub without touching it. A second predator appeared, larger, with jagged spikes along its back. Its roar shook the arena. Kai didn't falter. "Eyes on me. Don't overthink, react. Trust yourself." The cub lunged, dodging the spikes, and Kai pulled it back at the last second, letting the predator strike empty air. The cadets watched in stunned silence. No one had ever seen a human and a creature work in perfect synchronization, predicting each other's moves, protecting and striking at the right moment. One of the instructors muttered, almost grudgingly, "That human, he's not just clever. He's dangerous." Kai gritted his teeth as he guided the cub through the maze of obstacles the arena provided. Sliding panels, retractable walls, and shifting platforms designed to confuse and trap. Every move was a test, every predator a lesson, and the cub learned with terrifying speed. At one point, a predator cornered them near a drop. Kai froze for a heartbeat, then whispered, "Jump on my mark." The cub leapt with him, claws gripping the human's jacket, muscles straining. They landed safely, hearts pounding, and the cadets erupted in murmurs of awe. The human's calm in the storm, the cub's quick adaptation, it all painted a picture that no alien could ignore. For the first time, Kai felt a flicker of pride, not just in his own abilities but in what the cub could become. This wasn't a pet nor a weak creature. It was a partner, an ally that could survive trials far beyond what anyone imagined. The arena quieted again as the predators retreated to the shadows, and Kai knelt, letting the cub curl at his feet. "We're just getting started," he said softly, feeling the warmth of its trust. Its eyes gleamed up at him, full of promise and fierce intelligence. Somewhere on the elevated platform, the instructors exchanged worried glances. A human and a cub working as one? It was an anomaly, a threat to their expectations, a force they had not prepared for. And Kai knew deep down that this bond, fragile yet unbreakable, would change everything. The arena's lights flickered, throwing long shadows across the jagged walls. Kai's heartbeat pounded in rhythm with the trembling floor beneath him. He crouched, eyes fixed on the gates that lined the edges, sensing something was coming. The cub pressed close, low to the ground, ears flat but alert. A sudden roar tore through the air, shaking loose stones from the walls. The first test had begun. From the shadowed gates, a dozen predators surged forward, massive, armored beasts with glistening claws and fangs dripping venom. Their eyes burned with hunger, scanning for weakness. "Stay calm," Kai whispered, his voice barely audible yet firm. "Watch me. Move fast, think faster." The cub's amber eyes shone with instinct. It crouched, tail flicking, muscles rippling under its fur. Kai and the cub were one now, each movement a silent communication. A predator lunged and Kai dodged, sweeping his arm to guide the cub. It leapt, swiping at the creature's shoulder, drawing first blood. The arena erupted in a mixture of gasps and laughter, though this time unease threaded through it. "Impossible," one cadet shouted, claws twitching. "No human should survive this." Kai didn't answer. He sidestepped another attack, feeling the predator's hot breath graze his jacket. He glanced at the cub. It mirrored his movements perfectly, coiling, striking, retreating. They moved like shadows, unpredictable yet precise. A larger predator, twice the size of the others, appeared at the far gate. Its jagged horns scraped the walls as it charged, shaking the ground. Kai froze for only a heartbeat, then shouted, "Over here! Now!" The cub bolted, skimming past the massive beast, biting at its flank. The predator roared, spinning violently, sending debris flying. Kai rolled under its strike, landing on the opposite side. The cadets' laughter died, replaced by whispers of disbelief. "It's working together," someone muttered. "They're a single force." Kai scanned the arena, noting the shifting platforms and retractable barriers. The instructors had designed the test to trap and confuse, but he moved with purpose. "Follow me," he said, voice low but commanding. "We'll use the terrain. Don't panic." The cub leapt over a retractable barrier, landing silently, then crouched, eyes locked on the nearest predator. Kai mirrored its movements, sidestepping as the predator lunged again. The cub struck its jaw, not to kill but to disorient. The predator staggered, stunned, giving Kai time to maneuver them both behind a crumbling wall. "Your bond is unnatural," one instructor hissed, barely visible on the control platform. "No human has ever moved like this. No creature has ever learned so fast." Kai didn't care. His pulse raced with adrenaline, but he focused entirely on the cub. "Trust your instincts. We can't stop now." Another predator lunged from the shadows, faster than the others, claws slicing through the air. The cub leapt, dodging with inhuman precision, and Kai followed, landing atop a raised platform. The predator spun, striking at nothing, growling in frustration. Kai caught his breath, but he didn't relax. Every predator was a puzzle, every movement a chance to teach the cub something new. One of the cadets tried to intervene, aiming a clawed strike at the cub. "No human should have this advantage," he shouted. The cub lunged, intercepting the attack. Teeth flashed, and the cadet stumbled back, eyes wide with fear. The arena's atmosphere shifted. Where there had been ridicule, there was now tension. Every spectator sensed it. This small human and the cub were not just surviving, they were dominating. Kai's mind raced. The test wasn't just about strength. It was about strategy, timing, and control. He led the cub through a maze of shifting walls, drawing predators into traps they didn't understand. The cub struck and retreated, its movements faster, sharper, more confident. A predator lunged from above, claws extended. Kai caught the cub mid-leap, spinning to avoid the attack. They landed together, hearts pounding, faces streaked with dirt and sweat. "We can do this," Kai whispered, feeling a surge of pride. The cub nudged his hand in response, eyes burning with fierce determination. From the elevated platform, instructors whispered urgently. "Stop them. They cannot survive this." No human and no creature should. Kai ignored them, focusing only on the next predator. He adjusted the cub's path with a small gesture, guiding it to a narrow ledge. The predator followed blindly, misjudged the jump, and crashed into the wall. Dust and debris filled the air. A murmur ran through the cadets. Fear and awe mixed together. The cub crouched beside Kai, chest heaving, muscles tense but controlled. Kai's hand rested lightly on its head. "We've done more than survive," he said softly. "We've learned." "They've learned too, that we're not weak." A massive shadow shifted at the far gate. Kai's stomach tightened. This test had been a warning. The instructors were saving the real threat for last. The cub's ears twitched, sensing the danger before Kai fully understood it. Together, they stared across the arena, ready for whatever would come next. For the first time, the cadets weren't laughing. They watched with wide eyes, whispers of disbelief trailing behind them. A human, small and underestimated, had turned a harmless cub into a partner, an equal in cunning, courage, and instinct. The arena had never seen anything like it. And in the stillness, Kai realized the bond he shared with the cub wasn't just survival. It was the beginning of something that could change everything. The arena had fallen into a tense silence. Dust swirled in the air, catching the dim light as Kai crouched beside the cub, its fur bristling with anticipation. The predators from the first test had retreated, but their absence did not calm the air. Something heavier, larger, and far more dangerous was coming. Kai scanned the arena, muscles coiled, senses sharp. "Stay close," he whispered, voice low. "Something's here, bigger than before." The cub pressed against him, ears twitching, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. A low rumble shook the floor. The walls vibrated as a shadow moved across them. The cadets gasped and whispered nervously. "What is that?" one muttered, backing away. Then it emerged. Towering over the arena, a massive predator revealed itself. Black scales glinting, jagged horns arching from its head, claws like curved daggers. Its eyes, a deep red, scanned the human and the cub as though sizing up two pieces on a chessboard. Every step it took made the ground quake. Kai's stomach tightened, but he forced himself to remain calm. "It's huge, and it's fast," he said under his breath. "But we can do this. Stick to me." The cub growled, low and fierce, tail lashing. Its small body trembled, but the intensity in its eyes was unmistakable. This was no ordinary creature. It was an apex predator, one the instructors had likely kept hidden to intimidate the cadets. Kai had faced difficult trials before, but this was different. The creature roared, a sound that echoed like a mountain collapsing, and lunged. Kai rolled to the side, grabbing a loose metal beam to propel himself and the cub out of the immediate path. The cub followed instinctively, leaping onto his shoulder and clinging tight. Dust and debris filled the arena as the predator slammed into the ground where they had just stood. The cadets shrank back, eyes wide, some frozen in shock. "No human can survive that," one shouted, voice trembling. Others whispered quickly to each other, fear overtaking their earlier ridicule. Kai's mind raced. The first test had taught him the cub's instincts, but this predator was unlike anything they had faced. "We have to use the arena," he said, scanning quickly. "Move with me. Don't get cornered." The cub leapt to the platform above, claws gripping the metal surface as Kai followed. The predator's roar shook the platform, and bolts of debris rained down, but neither human nor cub faltered. Kai gestured to the cub, guiding it to the retractable walls. "Trap it. Make it follow us where we want it." The predator shifted, suddenly aware of their tactics. It moved faster, its claws scraping the walls, sparks flying with each strike. "It's learning too," Kai muttered, voice tight. "It's smart, maybe smarter than we expected." The cub moved as Kai signaled, agile and precise, biting at the predator's flank and retreating quickly before it could retaliate. The predator roared in frustration, swiping wildly, but Kai and the cub had already adjusted their positions. They worked as one, silent communication guiding every move. Suddenly, the predator lunged toward a high ledge. Kai barely caught the cub mid-leap, rolling backward to avoid the strike. He could feel the heat of the beast's breath, the raw power behind its movements. Adrenaline surged through him, but he stayed focused, reading the predator's shifts, predicting its strikes. "You're stronger than you look," he whispered to the cub, brushing dirt from its fur. "And smarter than it expects. Don't hold back." The cub responded with a sharp growl, eyes burning with determination. Together they moved again, dodging the predator's strikes and forcing it into a narrow corridor where it had limited movement. Its massive claws scraped metal and stone, sparks flying as it struggled to maneuver. Kai's chest heaved, sweat dripping from his forehead. He had never been closer to danger, yet he felt a strange confidence. The bond with the cub was more than instinct, it was understanding. They were predicting each other's movements, reacting instantly, reading the predator as if it were part of a dangerous game. The predator lunged one final time, aiming to crush them. Kai threw himself forward, allowing the cub to leap between the claws, biting and clawing, distracting the creature long enough for both of them to escape to higher ground. They landed panting, covered in dust and scratches but alive. The predator roared again, frustration evident in every movement, and then slowly retreated to the shadows, disappearing into the arena's depths. The cadets erupted into whispers of awe and fear. "I've never seen anything like that," one muttered. "That human, he's different." Kai knelt beside the cub, running a hand along its back. "You did it. That was incredible. You faced it head-on, and you didn't run." The cub's tail twitched, pressing close to Kai, a quiet acknowledgement of their shared victory. From the control platform, one instructor's voice cracked with irritation. "The bond? It's unnatural. How can one human and one creature face the hidden apex predator and survive?" Another muttered, "We've underestimated them, dangerously so." Kai's heart still raced, but he felt something stronger than fear, pride. They had faced the hidden threat and survived. The cub, once mocked and small, had revealed its true strength and intelligence. Together they were no longer just a human and a cub, they were a force the Academy had never accounted for. Kai looked down at the cub, amber eyes glimmering in the dim light. "This is just the beginning," he whispered. "They've seen a glimpse, but they haven't seen our full power yet. We'll be ready for anything." The arena's air hung heavy with tension, every cadet and instructor aware of one undeniable fact. A human and a cub had faced the hidden apex predator, and lived. The arena was electric with anticipation. Every cadet and instructor waited, tension coiling like a living thing in the air. Word had spread quickly. The human and his cub had survived the hidden apex predator. Now the final trial was about to begin. Kai's chest tightened, but he didn't show fear. He crouched low, eyes scanning the towering gates that lined the arena, the cub pressed close at his side. Its fur bristled, muscles rippling beneath, and its amber eyes shone with a fierce, unyielding light. "They think this is the end," Kai whispered, voice steady, low enough for only the cub to hear. "But it's just the beginning. Remember everything, trust yourself." From the gates, a new figure emerged. It was unlike anything Kai had seen. A massive predator, taller and broader than the last, scales shimmering with a dark, metallic sheen. Horns spiraled from its head, jagged and dangerous, and its claws scraped the floor with a sound like tearing metal. Its eyes burned with intelligence and malice, fixed on the cub and its human companion. A roar split the arena, shaking the walls. Dust rained down from the high ceiling as cadets recoiled, whispers of fear rippling through the crowd. One muttered, "No one survives that. No human, no cub." Kai's pulse raced, but he stayed calm. "Stay close. Watch me. Move together." The cub growled, low and resonant, muscles tensed like springs. It was ready. The predator lunged, faster than the eye could follow. Kai rolled to the side, propelling himself and the cub with a swift kick. The cub landed gracefully, teeth bared, claws flashing, striking at the predator's flank. The massive beast roared, swiping wildly, but Kai and the cub had already shifted, moving in perfect synchrony. "You think you're clever," Kai said under his breath, "but you haven't seen what we can do." The cub darted through the predator's legs, biting and striking, confusing the creature. Kai vaulted onto a raised platform, guiding the cub with a subtle gesture. The predator spun, horns scraping the metal edge, but the cub anticipated its moves, leaping again to strike at the vulnerable joints. Sparks flew where claws met metal, and the cadets gasped, unable to look away. One instructor muttered sharply, "Stop them. That human, he's creating something we cannot control." Another whispered in disbelief, "They are unstoppable together." Kai's heart pounded, but he felt a surge of connection with the cub. Every instinct, every heartbeat was aligned. "We've trained for this," he whispered. "We know each other. Use it." The predator lunged again, claws snapping dangerously close. Kai ducked, rolling to the side, and the cub lunged from above, striking the predator's neck. The creature staggered, roaring in fury, but the cub was relentless. Its small body moved with precision, striking where the predator was weakest, dodging every retaliatory swipe. Cadets who had mocked the cub weeks ago now watched in stunned silence. Some took a step back, Others whispered urgently to each other. "It's amazing," one murmured. "A human and a cub, working as one, how?" Kai leapt from the platform, landing next to the cub. They moved together, anticipating the predator's next strike, forcing it toward a narrow corridor where its size became a disadvantage. The massive creature roared again, thrashing violently, but it could not match the combined speed and intelligence of the human and his cub. "You underestimated us," Kai said calmly, voice carrying across the arena. "You thought we were weak. You were wrong." The predator faltered, exhaustion and frustration creeping into its movements. Its strikes became sloppy, slower, less precise. The cub pounced, driving it further into the confined space. Kai mirrored its attacks, guiding it into traps the arena had been designed for, but this time they used them to their advantage. Finally, the predator froze, trapped between collapsing walls, glaring at the human and cub with eyes full of fury and disbelief. The cub crouched low, tail flicking, chest heaving but eyes blazing. Kai stepped forward, voice steady, commanding. "We are not weak. We survive. We adapt. And together, we are unstoppable." A silence fell over the arena. The cadets stared, wide-eyed. The instructors exchanged grim, worried glances. None of them had predicted this outcome. A human and a cub turning every obstacle into an advantage, outsmarting predators that had terrified generations of cadets. The cub pressed against Kai's leg, ears flicking, muscles coiled. It had grown far beyond what anyone expected, not just in strength but in intelligence. Its amber eyes gleamed with confidence, a creature no one could dismiss. One instructor finally spoke, voice trembling. They've become the apex." Another muttered, "No academy, no predator, can stop them now." Kai looked down at the cub, pride and awe mixing in his chest. "We did it," he whispered. "They'll never forget us." The cub nudged his hand, a quiet acknowledgement of their shared victory. The cadets and instructors had no choice but to watch, realizing that laughter and mockery had been replaced with respect and fear. A human had raised a cub into a monster, one no alien could ignore. And in that moment, Kai knew something profound. This bond, forged in trust, courage and instinct, had changed everything. The arena was quiet now, but the tension lingered, thick and electric. One truth was clear. Humans, small and underestimated, had turned what others saw as weakness into a force the galaxy could not dismiss. The cub, once mocked, now stood as proof that courage and bond could surpass power, size and fear. Kai whispered one last time, almost to himself, "This is only the beginning, and they'll remember it forever." The cub growled softly, eyes fixed on the shadows where more challenges might come, ready to face anything alongside the human who had believed in it.